Thanks for being with us this morning. Let's just get your initial reaction to all the news this morning.
Yeah, I think Pete said it very best. I mean, the president is putting himself in an untenable political situation. I watched his speech yesterday, and I was getting flashbacks to George W. Bush saying mission accomplished on the aircraft carrier, right? He's already starting to take a victory lap. He's already trying to get the American public to accept the fact that we are going to be out of there in 7 days, 8 days, no matter how many Americans and Afghan allies we end up leaving behind. I don't understand this political calculus. The veterans community has mobilized to help out their friends. The diplomatic community, the congressional community, we're mobilized to get Americans out. And President Biden wants to pull up tent stakes, and it's unfathomable.
Right.
Congressman, some people have speculated that the reason that we have this timetable of getting out right now instead of more of a slow exit was that the Biden administration or Joe Biden himself wanted this September 11th, like this moment that September 11th coming up and we're out of Afghanistan and some sort of, do you believe that? I mean, is there any explanation for you that you have of why this happened on this particular timetable and without leaving, as Pete mentioned, some sort of force behind?
Well, I think at this point it's the Taliban that are telling us when we're supposed to get out. And President Biden is trying to browbeat them. Meanwhile, the Taliban are actually beating our citizens and actually beating, those who risk their lives to serve us in Afghanistan. This is completely a timetable that we can change. We can take that force back, as you guys were mentioning earlier. We're a superpower. We went and got bin Laden in his sleep in Abbottabad, and yet it's somehow, mission impossible to potentially send our forces a couple of blocks away from the airport. I mean, it's insane the position we're in and how dependent we are on, frankly, the Taliban's goodwill rather than actually standing up and doing what's right for American citizens and our loyal Afghan allies.
Yeah, Congressman, it seems the plan right now is to beg the Taliban and hope our enemy does right by American citizens, which is amazing to hear that uttered from the lips of an American president. But there's been a lot of contradiction, as we mentioned earlier, Congressman. So Joe Biden said American citizens are getting in just fine, thanks to our buddies, the Taliban. Well, you were on a call with the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, who immediately, almost immediately contradicted that. Here's how Politico reported the call, and we want to get your take, sir. He said that Lloyd Austin said this: "We're also aware that some people, including Americans, have been harassed and even beaten by the Taliban. This is unacceptable, and we made it clear to the designated Taliban leader." What do you make of this discrepancy, and do you have a sense that the Secretary of Defense fully understands what's going on?
Right now, I don't get the sense that many people fully understand what's going on. I watched President Biden's speech. At least in the call, it was clear that more information was known by the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. But, in the president's speech, he was talking about our allies being grateful and understanding that America was back and that they were supportive of this mood. I had not even had an hour since I got off the phone with one of our longstanding allies, with an ambassador from a longstanding ally who was furious, who felt betrayed. Just how out of touch President Biden is extraordinary. And I honestly can't explain it. Either the situation is moving too fast for him to keep up with, or he's trying to put the rosiest possible spin on a situation that still can get very worse. I understand he wants to focus on his domestic agenda, this $3.5 trillion, all of the things he wants to do domestically. He wants to be rid of Afghanistan, but by leaving early, by trying to get rid of this, you're only guaranteeing this problem will grow increasingly worse. American citizens' lives are and will continue to be put at risk, and our loyal Afghan allies betrayed.
Congressman, can I ask you a question? This is driven out of my own personal curiosity. I know you've been at the front lines of this issue, and you just brought it up, our Afghan allies and the refugee situation. I know you've advocated very thoroughly to help get some of these people out behind enemy lines, essentially. The numbers are staggering to me. Every time I hear some of these numbers, I don't know, sometimes you hear 30,000, sometimes you hear 50, 60,000 people. And I know that we owe people out of a duty of honor to help them, but I know there's also a balancing act with protecting American interest and security here. Can you help me understand How big is the population of people we are trying to resettle out of Afghanistan? And is that a concern? Should that be a concern for the American people?
Yeah, so right now that number, because remember, we've been at war there for 20 years.
Right.
I mean, the amount of individuals who, were interpreters on the battlefield or helps in interrogations, who were advising us, working in the villages, it's around 15,000 to 18,000. And then some of those have a spouse. They might have 1 or 2 kids. I'm trying to help a friend of mine who has 4 young children, under the age of 5. The thing to remember is these individuals, by and large, speak fluent English, have been working with U.S. forces for years, some for decades, are known to us, have passed, counterintelligence screenings. I think people saw the images of individuals running to get onto that C-17 and thought that this was just random folks being flown directly to the U.S. If there is any question on someone's status, those planes get screened in Qatar. People are getting sent back who don't meet any of the qualifications. The only folks coming directly to the U.S. are American citizens, green card holders, or individuals with a valid visa. So I think we need to make sure that anybody whose life is at risk because of the service they gave to the U.S. And remember, we made promises to those who signed up to be interpreters and others. We said, if this day comes, we will get you. We will help you out. So I think it's critical for our national security that we protect those individuals and we keep those promises, or the next country we're in, however many years down the road, people are going to look at us and say, why the hell should I help you?
Yeah,
You turned your backs on these folks. We saw the videos of them getting assassinated, and you want me to help you?
Yeah, it's an excellent point. We have to think about the consequences into the future. I want to play this clip for you because you talked a little bit about reality, the president's reality, and and what his advisors know and what he doesn't seem to know. Here is our own Jennifer Griffin pressing on whether Al-Qaeda is gone or not in Afghanistan. Take a look.
What interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with Al-Qaeda gone?
We know that Al-Qaeda is a presence, as well as ISIS, in Afghanistan, and we've talked about that for quite some time.
The president just said that there is no Al-Qaeda presence in Afghanistan. That does not seem to be correct.
What we don't think is that what we believe is that there isn't a presence that is significant enough to merit a threat to our homeland as there was back on 9/11 20 years ago.
Oh, boy.
What do you make of John Kirby trying to cover for that huge blunder?
I don't understand why the administration just doesn't own up and say, listen, we didn't plan for this, or maybe we did, but we never executed that plan. But here are the things we're going to do from here on out. And that includes the over-the-horizon ability to continue to monitor what's going on with Al-Qaeda. I mean, the reality is that the 5,000 people that were released from Puli-Charkhi prison, some of those were Taliban, some of those were Islamic State of Khorasan, the ISIS affiliate in Afghanistan, some of those were Al-Qaeda members. I mean, we are in a situation where things are incredibly volatile on the ground, and Washington denials are not going to change that reality. So I struggle to make something of this because it just seems so disconnected with what I'm hearing from people inside the airport, people outside the airport, folks who actually understand the situation and are just getting fed, very carefully crafted talking points.
And if and when it gets worse, Congressman, then the explanations get that much more disconnected from reality, and just being honest up front and saying the timeline accelerated. We knew the Taliban were taking ground. We didn't think it would collapse completely. Now we're doing the best we can to pick it up. They've never done that, and now their back's against the wall. And what's their explanation from here? Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service in Iraq and Afghanistan, sir. You know what you're talking about. Representative Peter Meijer, appreciate all your time this morning.
Thank you.